Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and Ron.
Hey, welcome to the best sports podcast on the planet, Sports Unfolded, where we cover all of the weekly top sports stories. I am your host, Eric. Main man right over there, Ron. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good. I am fired up and ready to go.
Fired up. What a week it's been.
It's been
NFL kickoff, right? A lot going on in the NFL world. We've got some NHL stories. I know a particular player that you're fond of. So I look forward to that discussion tonight.
I just love when you pick out these topics that you know are going to piss me off.
I love doing it.
You pick one out every single time.
Every show, buddy. Every show. And our starting five, you stay tuned for this one. It should be a good one. Our starting five athletes who should have won a championship but never did. We're talking some names. There are some.
So going by the theory that I always go by, so nobody can be in my top five.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I always pick guys with championships.
So if you are joining us live tonight, please join the chat, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Let us know. Look at that merch. If you'd like some Sports Unfolded merch, you can go on to Patreon at Rhode Island Broadcasting. Pins, mugs, and more. So there is a ton of Sports Unfolded merchandise as well. So pick some up. Get a mug. Ron, you ready to start? I think it's time to start.
I've been ready like 3 hours ago. Not really, because I was still doing the starting five, but
I will say this. We are live every Friday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Want to thank all of our fans in Dallas, Georgia.
My God.
WDJY 99.1 FM. You guys have been amazing. Continue to the support. We appreciate it. Like, share, follow our show. Join us live if you can, because we'd love to have you on Friday nights at 6. We are on there at Saturdays at 1 p.m. every Saturday. So you're listening to us. We appreciate it. SEC TV. We've been doing it for a few years now as well. Southeast Connecticut, Public Access. You guys have been amazing as well. Kenny's on tonight. Let's go. That's right. It is time. Let's start off with our leadoff story, Ron, and that is one Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. He suffered another concussion last night in the loss to the Buffalo Bills. What do you think his next move should be?
Personally, I'm almost thinking, for his safety, I think he should sit out the year. I know it's so hard to do that, but I mean, you really you need to start evaluating yourself. You're now on your third concussion. This is what, your fourth season?
It's 3 concussions in the last 2 years.
I mean, this is a lot.
And let's say that are documented. Right.
Because we still think that there was another one in there, and that is glaring to me. Look, he's at a severe risk to get one at any time now, and he needs to really sit out and make sure. And I know it's not what you want to do with the hopeful, Super Bowl team. I mean, because they literally have a team that could do it. I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to make it there, but, I mean, they're at least a contender.
Yeah, listen, I agree. Here's the personal side of it. He's 26 years old, Ron. He just got married 2 years ago, has 2 small children.
Yeah.
At some point in his life, he has to understand that the opportunities are still going to be there for him to maybe do something in football, if it's coaching, if it's television, right? There's so many different markets. If it's joining Sports Unfolded on a podcast, we'd love to have him at some point. But again, that's where he may have to start to focus, because realistically, his life is going to drastically
on the line every time now.
Yeah, it's going to drastically change for him if he continues to play. Here's the difference, too. The hit he took wasn't a hit that another player hit him.
Right.
he went into the player. So when you look at it, you start to question sometimes. All right, can he take a hit? He can't even give a hit.
No.
He put his shoulder down, went in, and ironically, it was Hamlin. That was the player.
Right. And which is that opened up another can of worms because, Al Michaels is now taking heat because he mentioned that it was ironically, people just need to chill.
Yeah,
And so
it's
does
ironic when you look
Tua.
at it. If you look at the situation, I mean, this was the last player we saw go down in a situation where, he lost his life. He was out. He was literally pronounced,
Yeah.
deceased at one point. They brought him back, and then you see,
Yep.
and you remember that concussion 2 years ago where he was just out.
Right. Yeah.
And you start to worry about some of these guys that are consistently getting hurt. This isn't hey, Tua had a one-time situation. This has been consistent.
It's now too easy for him to get a concussion. And this is what, the Bruins have experienced with Mark Savard, right? He had to retire because of it. There's been a lot of players that have retired because of concussions, and that goes to Hall of Famers as well. You don't think that weighed, on Steve Young?
Absolutely.
This is, it's a violent game, and we love it for that. Don't make it into flag football, but you are at a risk, and for every concussion you get, you're more and more and more at a risk. And we know this with Patrice Bergeron as well, because I think that hit along the boards that he took in the last season that he played against Florida, I think he got a concussion on that. And I think that's why he retired. He's not going to come out and tell you everything because he's going to keep it personal. But he's got to start, Tua's got to start thinking now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a Dolphin fan, so I don't have, like a hand in this. But
yeah, and I think at the end of the day, you're right. We're not, listen, I'm a diehard Patriot fan, right? They're in our division.
Yeah.
This benefits the Patriots, right? If Tua is not there. This is not why we're saying this.
No.
This is about the person, and we've heard stories. We've seen stories. We understand now that CTE is a legitimate thing that happens to players, and it's from brain injuries that you sustain over time.
Junior Seau.
Right. Listen, we've seen it. We've seen it. The movie Concussion. We talked about movies, but it started off with Mike Webster in a truck blowing his brains out.
Yeah.
I don't want to see this for Tua.
No.
When he just got married, has two very small
he
children.
seems like a good kid too,
Yeah,
he's a young guy that's, in the prime of his career.
Right? It's tough. It's no different than any of us having to give something up because we get older and we can't do it. But at the same, I'm sure you would love to go play hockey, Ron. I'm sure that's not going to really happen. Or I'd love to shoot a jumper again. My knees aren't going to cooperate. I think he's at that age, though, where he says I could still do it. And that's the problem. It's very hard for somebody at 26 years old to walk away. But I think everybody has to really start to get in his corner to say, hey, look, let's talk about you, the person now, not the football player, not the Miami Dolphin. And hopefully he gets the right advice from his family,
I hope so.
From his friends.
Like I said, Eric, if you take a year, the rest of the season, you take it off. Could you blame anybody? Could you blame him for doing this?
No.
And if somebody does, then shame on them. At least take the rest of the year off, in my opinion, and make sure you're okay. Because if you get another one this year, I don't
know why he doesn't.
I don't know how bad it could cost.
That protective cap. Some of the guys are wearing that now.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact name of it, but that, why wouldn't he wear that? Like, you would think a guy who's had that many concussions or susceptible to concussions would be wearing that. To me makes more sense. Like, some of the plays I'm seeing wearing it, I'm like, oh, unless they didn't disclose that they had a head injury, we know Tua has.
Yeah.
And I would have think the Dolphins or the NFL says, listen, this guy has to wear it. It
Yeah,
just makes
I
sense.
mean, I think we're heading to the point where they're going to be changing those helmets. To be honest with you, I mean, you've seen the practice helmets, right?
Yeah.
I think they're going to start using those. To be honest with you,
Peppers for the Patriots, he wears it in the games now.
yeah.
So I think you're going to start to see more guys do it. It's just a matter of time. Just a matter of time.
Yeah, you got to keep the players safe, and there's all this talk about keeping quarterbacks safe. I think it's time for you to do that now.
Yeah.
If you want to pass some rules to protect the player's head.
But honestly, too, let me ask you this, and then we can move on, Ron. Thinking about the player, and I know last year they said he practiced all this stuff, some martial arts or something to be able to take a fall better or to do. Why wouldn't he have slid? Like that in my mind is one of the questions I'm asking. Like he had every opportunity just to slide there.
Yeah.
And he didn't. And it's like that's the football player in him. And that's what I think worries me more is that for him, he's not going to understand that to protect myself. Some guys do it all the time. We get pissed off. They run out of bounds, right? They don't want to take the hit, but they're doing it to protect their bodies, protect their heads, right? Do some certain things. He needs to start to think that way. Like that was a clear situation where he should have slid. And I'm not blaming Tua, but you would think the Dolphins would have taught him at this point to say, hey, look, you slide in all situations.
Yeah. And I mean, you got to give him credit for being the guy that just wants to go above and beyond, right? I mean, he clearly wants to get every yard possible, to better his football team. And, that's commendable. But again, to what's the cost? What are you gaining if you pick up a first down? What are you gaining by trying to slug out another yard or two?
Yeah, and he's out now, like you said, at least probably multiple games. I mean, they were off for 10 days, and I've heard there's no way he plays in 10 days.
If he goes back in the game to start next game,
it's on the Dolphins.
That is Miami putting pressure on him.
Yeah. And
they should sit. They should already announce that he's sitting.
Right. I would have put him on the IR already. Said, listen, at least the next 4 games.
Yeah.
But we haven't heard that either. Hey, we're going to continue with them. We're going to continue with the Miami Dolphins, Ron. Talk some NFL. And a strange situation last Sunday. Tyreek Hill, that is the picture right there. Being arrested right before the Dolphins game. They were playing the Jaguars in a victory in that game. 150-something yards for Tyreek in that game as well. What are your thoughts on the whole incident and what happened?
Oh, well, first off, when it first started, I think he was pushing buttons.
And that's exactly where, to me, both parties are at fault here.
Yeah.
Because he clearly didn't listen to or comply with the directions that were being given to him, which escalated the situation. At the same time, I agree. The officer, excessive force, really didn't have
that third guy that came in, he's the guy. He's the guy. That was not called for. He just wanted to take down a guy and be all macho. That's what that was. Yeah. That was the the cop that just wants to be super cop, right? He wants to take somebody down.
And I don't think. Hey, the 49ers lost Ayuk again, by the way.
How is that on there? I clearly changed
2 weeks in a row. That's 2 weeks in a row.
How is that on there?
The 49ers have lost Ayuk. No, they kept them though. So see, I like what you're doing here. No, in all seriousness, right? We've got to look at the player too. And this is where some of this is starting to bother me. Because this isn't an individual who's completely upstanding to the law. He's been in trouble. He's had a domestic, I wrote it down. Domestic abuse charge, child abuse investigation, an assault of battery in 2023, and now is in a lawsuit for breaking someone's leg because he got upset that they were able to cover him during some, practice football in his backyard. And it was a female. He's not the nicest guy in the world.
No, he's not.
And then you get there, and I watch the officer say, "Please keep your window down, sir," and he puts it back up.
Yeah.
And then he knocks on the window.
Just doing it to irritate.
Yeah, like so at some point he's got to take personal accountability. Like, yes, he said I could have handled it better, but he wants the officer fired. How about your actions? How about what you've shown kids now? When we talk about there is violence and there are some bad cops out there that are going to do things, but at the same time, you had an opportunity to be an example to say, "Hey, look, I comply. I'm doing what I'm told. I'm being right." And if the cop decides to go a different route, that's now just on those officers and what happened.
Yeah, just by having a normal conversation with that first police officer, could have changed everything. In fact, he probably would have gotten an escort to the game if he did it
They
right.
would have realized who he was, right? Probably said, "Oh, here's your ticket. We'll get you to the game."
Yeah.
I don't know, unless they
Might not
weren't
even
Dolphins
given
fans.
him a ticket if he just talked and responded properly.
Maybe they weren't
Like
Dolphins fans.
all you have to do is just be a human. You might not agree with what they're doing, but again, if you're not doing something to make somebody pull you over,
Which he was,
then
right?
you don't
He was
have a right.
speeding.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm not saying. So again, he kind of escalated the situation
Yeah.
by
Push some
speeding,
buttons.
and then the cops trying to ask you questions, and you're clearly not complying with what he's asking. So I'm not saying the cops are right, because again, I agree with you.
No.
I think there was a point where it got excessive.
Yeah, that
But I
third
also-
cop that came in at the end, he's the one.
But I can't be upset with the officers either. At some point when you're not complying with what they're asking you to do, and then expect them to just sit back and just let you basically disregard anything that they're asking you to do.
Right.
I don't. It just baffles me.
And not to mention that he just wanted to tell him to keep with the window where it was, so it was only open like 2 inches. And if he would have just kept it there, that would have been fine.
And I
But
watch.
he didn't want to do it.
Me and my wife watch a lot of these ID shows and these murder rate shows. Like,
Yep.
it's just obviously it's very popular. You can't tell me that officers on a little on guard every time somebody's doing that too. And he needs to understand that they deal with some extremely bad people who wouldn't care if they kill them either. So the officer wants to be able to see visually what you're doing.
He could have given him a ticket for the tint on the windows.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's a bad situation. We'll see how it turns out. Tyreek Hill wants the officer suspended. Fired. I believe it's a suspension in my eyes. I can't see how that's a fireable offense. We've seen obviously much worse from
the
officers.
original cop. I don't think he really did much wrong. It's that, like I said, it's that third cop that came in and tried to flip him over, and put him down. And him crying about his knee surgery is just BS, because here he is running around a football field to get 150 yards. So, you know what? I don't have any respect for Tyreek. And, now that I look at it, maybe there was a reason why Kansas City let him go. And it didn't cost them a damn thing, because they still win
now,
Super
right?
Bowls.
Yeah. And the IG model, Sophie Hall, is the one that is in the lawsuit right now. So broke her leg basically because she could cover him. Oh, that's awesome. Classic.
Yeah, he won't step to a guy on the defensive teams, that he's playing against. He won't step to one of those guys, but he'll step to a woman, right?
It's just amazing.
You're a coward.
Amazing. All right. While we continue this NFL talk, let's talk about games of interest for week 2. Obviously, week 1 had a lot of different stories. What are you looking for this week?
I was looking for the game last night. That's what I was looking for.
That was a good game, right? Dolphins.
Bills impressed me, because that game was over before Tua got hurt.
I did not see that coming. I really thought Miami was going to win that game. Josh Allen might be what we think he is, right? He's a legitimate quarterback that can make others better.
I really like Josh Allen. If Buffalo can just give him a full squad that doesn't get hurt the whole time. Oh, he could be an all-time great.
All
He's
right.
got to win some Super Bowls though.
Yes. I have the Bengals at Chiefs. And this is more of, can Joe Burrow, is this thing legit? Is this risk an issue?
It's not a good thing when they lose to the Patriots, and then have to go into Kansas City in game 2.
Yeah. And they're chirping. They're the best team in the AFC. Somebody asked about Worthy. All he can do is run straight. Like, they're making some, like, go out and play now and see what you can do. But that game, a lot of firepower in that game. That should be a fun one. What else do you have?
I have Atlanta and Philly.
I have that game.
Atlanta coming off a loss that they shouldn't have lost to, but they did. So they got to go into Philly now. They're in the same situation that Cincinnati's in, right? I mean, they're expected now to win that division because of, all the additions, right? Oof. It's not looking very pretty right now.
Not at all. And that's why I picked it, because of the same thing. Kirk Cousins, like, is this thing?
Yeah.
Again, we talk about injuries. Sometimes it takes a guy a while to get back. And Atlanta's put a lot of stock in making sure they got players around him to win some games. And that's going to be an interesting one. I also had Jets at Titans. And this Aaron Rodgers, this whole story now, like, people falling off the bandwagon. The defense was supposed to be, top notch. They got ran all over by the 49ers. Can they bounce back? And I'm not saying the Titans are that kind of team, but think about if they're in a close game or they lose that game.
If they lose this game,
people are really going to question the Jets. And Aaron Rodgers can't handle it.
Oh my God, 0-2.
Aaron Rodgers can't handle it. So that's why it's interesting to me, because I want to see if this thing, it'll fall apart quick. We undefeated, yo. Yes, we are, Kenny. The Pats are undefeated. I don't trust Atlanta either at this point. Look, they got to show something. Do you have anything else, Ron?
Yeah, I do. I have Tampa Bay at Detroit.
Yeah, it's a good game. I think so. I don't know why I don't believe in Tampa Bay. I just still don't.
That's what it is. We're all waiting for the wheels to fall off of Baker, right? But he's actually played pretty well last year and now after week 1.
He's legit. I don't know. Right? It's
like I kind of wish the Patriots would have signed him. I kind of wish.
Yeah, but I think he needs talent, and like Mike Evans,
he does.
He
does, but he's just been impressive as a Tampa Bay.
Agreed.
I mean, you're still following up Tom Brady, whether that last season was great or not. It doesn't matter. You're following him up. Tom Brady was fantastic. The rest of the team wasn't.
But think about it. He had Tom Brady his last year. They were 7-9. They made the playoffs, but
right.
Baker's been able to make them a winning team again, like over 500 team. It's kind of crazy. I have one more, and you're gonna laugh. Giants at Commanders.
I knew you were gonna pick that game.
I just want listen. One of these teams, first of all, going for a number 1 draft pick. 2, New York is about to explode. You got the Jets and everything that's going on there. And now you got the Giants, who absolutely got booed out of their own stadium because they were so bad. Brian Dable in trouble. Daniel Jones, we already said, right? Nobody respects or thinks he's a legitimate quarterback anyway.
He's not.
That team is just, and if you lose to the Commanders, who didn't look well either, and Jaden Daniels in his debut didn't look well, Caleb Williams in his debut looked horrible. These kids need to play in the preseason. That goes to show. So whoever's watching this year and you draft a quarterback next year, just a quick suggestion, play these kids in the preseason.
Absolutely.
But that game to me has got so much intrigue, because one of these 2 teams now is completely going to fall off the cliff after week 2. And it could be the Commanders too, because they've got a lot of faith in Jaden Daniels. He goes out and doesn't look well in 2 straight games. Now the questions start to be asked there as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're going to have at least one bust. I mean, that goes without saying. We could have a season like, the year where Mac was drafted and all
I'm gonna
that. I
say
mean, we could see that.
every dog gets a bone now and then. So I will say this too, Ron. I'm gonna blow your mind away. The Patriots might have been right not starting Drake May. They may have proven us both wrong. Because look at what these rookie quarterbacks did. They just didn't look good.
He's not ready.
Neither did these kids, though.
I didn't say they should start him. I said they were going to bring him in like week 7.
You play solid defense. You don't turn the ball over. You can win some games with Jacoby Brissett. All these teams now with Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, like this is starting to look ugly early. You had another one?
Cleveland and Jacksonville.
Yeah. Deshaun Watson's getting suspended. It's coming. I don't care. It's happening. Now he's got another lawsuit. I can't and he just he doesn't look good at all.
No,
he doesn't look like he's played pro football
an overrated
in years.
Quarterback. He was never, bringing a team to like playoffs or anything like that. That would be amazing if they could, but he's not that guy. They overpaid for him. It's like something awful.
Yeah. And then Jacksonville, although there's some clause now that if they cut him, they don't owe him the rest of the money. So it may happen. Maybe
they will.
I think it has to be something like, so again, another lawsuit, whatever. Jacksonville.
They have a great backup, don't they?
Jacksonville, interesting too. How about this though, Ron? Did you watch the game at all between Dallas and Cleveland?
No.
So I'm going to say this as the GOAT of quarterback play. The NFL, the owners are stifling Tom Brady from being a legitimate commentator. Right. It was absolutely horrible because he's not allowed to do certain things.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to get ownership in a team and all this stuff. And there was so much dead air during that game.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for people to talk. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, this isn't how an NFL game should go. Not very good start for Tom Brady when it came to being an analyst.
No, because he's handcuffed.
Bad.
He's got like a muzzle on him.
Yeah, he can't say anything bad about players, teams, anything. Like what? I mean, I don't know.
And you know how hard that is for Tom Brady because everybody's beneath him.
Mr. Competitor. Ron, it is time for our starting 5.
Holy macaroni.
3, 2, 1.
Our starting 5 tonight. We thought about it last week while we were doing it. We're going to our starting 5 players who we felt should have won a championship but never did. This was a list of lists, names of names. Again, obviously, this is a personal opinion, not fact. I hope James and Kenny did their research as well because we'd love to hear them. If you're joining us live,
this is what I got for you, Eric. I'm going to give you some numbers before we start, and you tell me if these numbers deserve to be in the top 5. 3,053 hits, 328 batting average, 1,424 runs, 1,015 RBIs, 353 stolen bases, Rookie of the Year, Hall of Famer, 7-time batting champion, 1 MVP, and 18 All-Stars. How's that?
Ernie Banks?
No.
Oh. Yes, they should be in. They didn't
should be in, right? He's 8th out of just the baseball players.
Yeah, baseball, they had a ton of them.
That's Rod Carew.
Rod Carew, wow.
Couldn't even sniff my honorable mentions.
Isn't that crazy? So if you're joining us live, listen, you have an opinion as well. Let us know if you think we've got this right or who got it right. This is going to be a fun one. This is going to be a fun one. Ron, you are first tonight. So I'm sure you have a ton of honorable mentions, as I do.
I do.
Let's
I
see
have
where
8.
you're at.
I have 8
what I got?
honorable and I had to cut it off there.
I had 7 because I felt like I was going to name at least 15 guys. So I got 7.
Right. I stopped at 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wouldn't get to that 25.
Yeah.
So my number 14
I love the way you do this.
is Tina Charles.
Ooh.
Like, her numbers are unbelievable, right?
Oh, look at WNBA, Ron. That deserves. Very good, my friend.
I wanted so much to put her in there. It was just so difficult.
Yeah.
17.9 points a game, 9.3 rebounds, 2.2 assists. Those are NBA numbers right there. Rookie of the year.
Look at him.
8-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA. I don't know how you get an extra All-NBA. Must have had a sensational second half. 1 MVP and 4 something or others. I don't know what that is. I can't read my writing. I have no idea what that is.
We got to invest in a typewriter for you.
Yeah, maybe. Assists. No, assists 3 times. So whatever that is, she's got 4 of them, right?
Tina Charles. All right.
So Tina Charles was
a good one.
my
Very,
14.
very good one.
And number 13, which was the highest of the NHL players. They couldn't even sniff the list. Oof. Joe Thornton. And when I looked at Joe Thornton, I'm like, okay, everybody above Joe Thornton is so well known that I couldn't put him ahead of him.
Okay.
Couldn't put him ahead.
All right.
Number 12, Randy Moss.
He's on my honorable mention.
I have him number 12.
Yep. He's on my honorable mention.
Number 11, sorry. So it was 11, 12, and 13. So Tina was 13. I apparently forgot number 11. Number 10, Tony Gwynn. Like, his numbers are ridiculous.
Honorable mention for me as well.
Number 9, Ken Griffey Jr.
Honorable mention for me as well.
And I remember battling between those two to see who would be higher, and it didn't matter. Number 8, I have Charles Barkley.
Oh, Barkley didn't make your list.
Didn't make my list.
Wow. I am in shock right now.
I thought for sure he'd be in, right?
Wow.
Well, I have number 7, Al Iverson.
Allen Iverson. Yeah, I left him off, but good
Get
player.
this one. Number 6, Dan Marino didn't make my list.
Wow.
Did not make my list.
Okay. All right. So you obviously mentioned Moss, Griffey Jr., and Gwynn. I also had Bruce Smith
he
as
didn't
an
make my
honorable
list.
mention. You think about 4 straight, and he was what? He's second all time in sacks.
He was number 4. He was number 14.
John Stockton, who leads the NBA in the assists. I mean, every year him and Karl Malone were in the playoffs.
Yep.
Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders did not make my list.
Wow.
I'm
surprised about that. Isn't he your boy?
And I still consider him best running back of all time. And my number, if you want to do a number 6, this one I struggled with a while. Ted Williams did not make my list.
Oh, come on.
Did not make my list.
How?
Ted Williams did not make my list. So it is time, Ron, for our starting 5.
That's because you're a Yankee fan.
No, had nothing to do with that. At 5, Ron, who is your number 5?
You got some explaining to do.
Lucy.
My number 5 is Karl Malone. When I looked at, first of all the guys on this list and ladies are MVPs. Wait, maybe that's what it was. No, she had 1 MVP. All of them.
Pipe right up.
So Karl Malone, 25 points a game, 10 boards a game, 3.6 assists, so a double-double average. He is a Hall of Famer, of course, 14-time All-Star. All 14 times he was All-NBA, and that weighed very heavily on this. 2-time MVP, and 4 of whatever that is. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Oh, all defense. That's what it is. All defense. 4-time all defensive. So Tina Child's also 4-time all defensive. I thought those numbers were so good. I think he should have been, because it's those 4
Should have
all
won one, right?
NBAs.
Should have won
Should
one.
have won one. He could. He was in line
That's
to win 2 if it wasn't for Michael.
Him and Stockton, every year they were in the postseason. Every
Yeah.
single year. So at number 5 for me, Ron, NHL player made it. Marcel Dion.
I was thinking about it.
All-time in NHL points or in scoring. The only player in the top 10 not to win a Stanley Cup. 18 seasons. His problem was he only went to 49 playoff games in those 18 seasons.
Yeah.
Tony Romo did not make them.
No.
Not at all. Not at all.
Not even close.
Not even sniffing
Yeah.
at.
What hurt Marcel Dion for me was he didn't have an MVP.
Yeah, but I looked at 6th all time, and you look at the names
I know.
ahead of him.
Believe me, I thought he was a great player.
Names and points that were ahead of him all won a Stanley Cup, and then the 3 under him won Stanley Cups. He's the only one in the top 10 never to win.
No, I can see that.
So
I mean,
that
the man was
number
a
5.
scoring machine. 731 goals is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yes. What do you got at 4? Number 4, Ron.
Number 4, and I know you're going to hate this one. I have Carl Yastrzemski. I have Yaz up there. I mean, when you look at what he's accomplished, the 452 home runs, 3,419 hits, the 1,800 runs and 1,800 RBIs. Those RBIs and runs, that's 3,600 runs he's responsible for. That's a lot. Those are unbelievable numbers. A Hall of Famer, 3-time batting champion. He won a Triple Crown, an MVP, 18 All-Stars, 7 Gold Gloves. He did it on both sides. And I was very baseball heavy on this one because just the numbers back it up with the baseball players. Yep. They really did. And I have him at number 4.
All right. At 4 for me, I had the Mr. Charles Barkley at 4, 16 seasons. Here's what impressed me the most. His points averaged 23.9 and rebounds 12.9 in the postseason were better than his actual average. So it wasn't his fault that he didn't win championships. He was phenomenal in the postseason.
Yeah, he was.
It was everybody else around him. Charles Barkley, to me, had deserved at least one. And the only time he got there was with Phoenix that one year. Yeah. But I really think Charles Barkley should have had one.
Yeah.
He should have joined Jordan in Chicago. There was always a rumor that he was going to Chicago for 1 year, like the 96 or whatever year it was.
They probably would have never lost a game.
I would have just loved to seen that because I think he deserved one. All right. So who do you got at 3?
Number 3, I have Barry Sanders. I mean, he's just clearly above everybody else when it comes to running backs. I mean, I'm looking at, I looked at several players, matter of fact, O.J. Simpson being one of them, and his numbers were just so much better. I mean, when you're averaging 5 yards a carry, you just give him the ball twice, you get a first down. So I don't know how they didn't win.
You cut O.J.?
I cut O.J., yeah.
Too soon? Too early?
The juice is loose.
The juice is loose.
I have Barry Sanders. Look,
Tony Gonzalez,
3,062 rushing, right? That's how many times he's grabbed the ball and caught, right? 15,269. I can't read my writing. For the yards, 5.0 yards per rush, which is insane. It's insane. 99 touchdowns. I mean, when you look at this, he's a Hall of Famer, obviously. Rookie of the Year, 10-time Pro Bowler, 6-time All-Pro, 1 MVP. I mean, this guy did it all for Detroit, and he was the only one on it.
I think James might have misunderstood what we meant, because I think it wasn't just guys named Tony that never won a championship.
I have Tony. I did his numbers, and they were fantastic.
Gonzalez
I
very
just couldn't get him in.
Yeah, very good player. Very good player. So at 3 for me, I had Dan Marino. In 17 seasons, 61,361 yards, 420 touchdowns. And the reason I looked at it today, he's a 100,000-yard passer. No doubt in my mind. With today's rules, if Dan Marino was playing, he would have shattered records. Like Tom Brady staying as long as he did wouldn't have been able to beat what Dan Marino could have done, because they didn't throw as much as they did in the 80s as they do today. And he was able to compile 61,000 yards.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And again,
I
you
have
think
him at
about,
number 6, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I had Dan Marino at number 3 for me.
I didn't even know how I was going to compare all the different sports.
It's so hard.
Totally different.
It's so
really
hard. We should have just did like football, baseball.
The NHL suffers in this
I'm
comparison.
surprised you didn't have Dion, though. That one really surprised me. That one really surprised me.
I just felt Joe Thornton was better.
Really? All right. So who do you have at number 2?
My number 2, Ted Williams. I mean, I'm stunned that you don't have him in there. I mean, when you look at his numbers, and keep in mind, he missed 3 years of his prime years serving the military, right? And he also played only 6 games or 9 games in one of those years as well. So, he didn't play 4 years. Oh,
phenomenal!
Yeah,
I'm not taking anything away from him.
I mean, my guess is you probably lost. He lost ground with you because of those hits, 2,654. And that's the only
to your point,
that you can do.
3 years not playing if you add those hits in. But I got you.
Yeah. I mean, even if you add 125 hits, which is far below you normally get.
Listen, it was a tough call for me. And the reason, like I said, I went Dion because he's in the top 10. And when I didn't do Ted Williams, it's because the guy that I did put in is clearly so much better. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not sure. 521 home runs, 344 batting average, which is crazy. And then you throw in his 1,700, and that could be a 48. I don't know. It could be an 18, or it could be a 98. The runs and 1,800 RBIs. I mean, two triple crowns, 6 batting titles, 2 MVPs, 19 All-Stars. I mean, oh my God. He has 2,000 less at-bats than all these baseball players, and he's right up there with all of them in all these numbers, which is crazy. Yeah. He was that good, and because those 2 MVPs put him really high up on the ladder, because, I mean, I had to draw a line somewhere, and MVPs was it. You had to have MVPs to get into the list, period.
Okay. All right. At 2 for me, I had Karl Malone. And again, here's a guy who's 3rd all-time in the NBA in scoring. Right. LeBron just passed. That's the only reason why, because LeBron's been in the league since 1974. But I will say that, like, you think about those great Utah teams every year in the postseason, him and Malone with that pick and roll had become so famous and just couldn't find a way to win. Karl Malone, even though he's not the best person in the world, but I had him at number 2. 19 seasons. 19 seasons.
Yeah, I can see
NBA.
that. You know, I mean, this
was a tough list. It's a tough list. Adrian
list.
Peterson, then no, he was an NFL MVP. I don't think so. All right, what do you got at number 1 then?
The same guy you have at number 1, and to me, it wasn't close. It was
agreed.
Like, I always thought Ted Williams was the best hitter in no. Ty Cobb, baby.
Absolutely.
Right? This guy, 4,189 hits.
2nd all-time in Major League Baseball.
I mean, it's crazy, right? Then you look at the 366 batting average.
Number 1 in baseball.
Yep.
all time.
And when I looked at the runs and RBI list, I made a big thing about Carl Yastrzemski with 3,600, right? This man together had over 4,000 run production, right? 2,200 runs, 1,900 RBIs. And this guy wasn't a home run hitter. They didn't hit home runs
No.
like that.
No, he only had what, like
I mean, that's
117?
just the number that blew my mind, 897 stolen bases.
You know what blew my mind is at bats. Ron, he had
Yeah.
over 11,000 at bats. Ted
Yeah.
Williams, to your point, 7,000. So almost
Yeah.
4,000 more at bats, and he still batted almost 30 points higher. Like the
Right.
man just was a machine.
Like I
He
made
never
a
won a
notation
championship,
here.
Ron.
At age 35, which for most people, that's pretty much the end of your career, right?
Unless you're Barry
The
Bonds.
man batted 401. 35
Yeah, it's just insane, dude.
years old, 401 batting average.
24
right?
seasons. It's a shame. If there was a player that ever deserved, it was Ty Cobb. I agree with you. That we both at least had that one the same. Like there was, but this was a
But
fun
we
list.
had a lot of the guys
Yeah.
in there the same.
Just different orders. But
You know,
that was a fun list.
Look, going 1 through 15,
That was
it's
a
a
great list.
crapshoot.
That was so much fun. So much
Oh
fun.
my god, that was so hard. It took me 3 hours.
Yeah, and we got a Tony Romo. So it's always worth it. Let's talk some NBA, Ron.
He wouldn't even be able to carry the spit bucket.
The NBA has changed the rule now on a coach's challenge. So during the review, they can actually change the call. So if there's a foul that happens while they're reviewing an out of bounds play, per se,
Yeah,
they can, if they see a foul that occurred, they will change the rule. Do you like it?
I do kind of like that
I hate it.
because no, see, I wanted to get it right at least. You know,
But how many calls are missed, Ron? How many calls are missed? So why does that particular one now get a special preference that they can change it? If you can't change it during a game, you shouldn't be able to change it, period. They missed the call. And now we're going to just allow them to change it.
Here's the problem with the NBA. You have a major flop problem, right? So they're going to miss a lot of calls. And they call that, especially if it's LeBron. And I'm going to pick on him. I don't care. I don't give a rat's ass about LeBron James. I think he's a joke, you know? And yeah, I mean, I see it where I watch all these videos, right? And you see this jackass catch the ball just inside the half-court line, and he literally runs the whole way and dunks it, and they counted it. He took like 7-8 steps.
They don't call it.
They don't
call it. It doesn't exist. This is what I'm saying.
This is why I'm so mad, is because the NBA misses so many calls. They call it wrong half the time.
So you can't now just one particular call that could change the impact of a game at the end.
But if it's the right call, but we all know they're not going to call it right.
To your point, so's the right call, calling a travel when you clearly saw the guy take 6 steps.
Yeah.
So why can't you change that call then?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't like either you go all in or you go all out. Stay out. If the coach is challenging an out of bounds play, because this is where this all stemmed from. Kyrie in the postseason
against the Timberwolves, right?
Yeah,
I remember the play.
Clearly fouled the dude on the arm, but it went off the Timberwolves. Dallas got the ball back. Get it? I understand, but they didn't make the call. It's not a call then.
Yeah.
Sorry, because again, in that game, I'm sure there was a travel missed. I'm sure there was a goaltending missed or a legal screen or whatever, moving screen, all these different things that happen. Why would that one call now be able to be changed? You can't do it. And it doesn't make sense. And I don't understand why the NBA even thought about doing this, because one play happens. All of a sudden, we're going to change the stupid rule.
Yeah, I mean, I get your point too. But I mean, I just want plays to be called right, you know. And I mean,
Every
if that
time, though,
helps
then,
it, then fine. Oh, I know you can't blow it dead and check the video on everything.
right?
And
So
you
just
first of all, you got to make these referees accountable. I'm sorry, in all sports because they all suck.
this
They
just
all
like that.
suck.
Can I say the after the game report is by far the thing that pisses me off more? Oh, well, these were the calls that they missed, and it should have been a foul. Or this should have. You telling me after the game's over, if your team lost, doesn't make me feel any better about the situation. Okay, so you realized once you watched it again that you were wrong.
Yeah.
So just let it be. It is what it is at that point. Because you probably miss calls for both teams. You probably miss certain things for both teams. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, change this one call. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I don't know. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, the amount of baseball highlights that I watch when the ball is clearly way out of the strike zone and they call it a strike, it's a joke, you know. And I'm waiting for the day where they actually have the electronic balls and strikes.
I
because
watched one of the
it'll improve
best
it.
things the other day, and I can't remember who the team was, but the ump was clearly like not calling strikes for them.
Yeah, I know what you saw.
I don't remember what game it was. And then all of a sudden, the catcher just casually made sure he missed the ball, and it square right in the face.
Yep, like, I remember that.
Wow,
I remember it.
He was like, "All right, you're not going to call it for us." Okay, it reminded me of like Bull Durham. You remember Bull Durham when the kid was talking all the smack, and he's like, "I'm going to throw this pitch," and he's like shaking him off every time. So he tells the guy what he's going to throw. It was like the perfect setup. It's like, let's just throw at the ump.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a point where these umpires and referees need to be accountable. How do you make such bad calls? I mean, it's clearly the other way. And
but they did that in the NFL
do it all
too.
the time.
I was watching the Pats game, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, we got something from New York," or it might have been Cleveland game. I don't know which one it was, but we got something from New York. They pulled the flag up. It wasn't a penalty. I'm like, I don't understand.
It's the same thing. Kansas City and Baltimore, how they were calling that illegal formation or whatever.
Oh,
when the
don't
guys
get me again.
Baltimore kept getting called for it, and then Kansas City lines up the same way. They don't.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is what I'm saying. I don't get it. Whatever. You know what? I don't like this rule. I think it's stupid. If I'm the NBA, it doesn't make sense to me because now you're just, again, impacting the game even more. You already got instant replay. Now we're going to instant replay with a possibility of calling a foul that wasn't called in the game. So what's next? What is the next thing that you're going to say? Oh, well, we missed this 2 quarters ago. We're going to take a point away. That drives me nuts too half the time. We came back from the break. We realized it was a 2-pointer. What?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Because in the 80s, you didn't do that. You couldn't do it. It didn't exist.
In the 80s, you were not getting fouled.
Right? Like, what the hell? Oh, man, that's a whole other story, right? Anyway, all right. Let's talk some Major League Baseball. Hey, Ron, I did want to ask you a question, though. We need a favor from everybody out there. You recently reached out to a radio station, correct?
Yes.
I need you to let the fans out there know, if you love Sports Unfolded and you think we are the best sports podcast on the planet, you may want to contact this radio station and say, hey, I think you should check these guys out. Which radio station is that?
Okay, so 790 The Score is an AM radio station here in Rhode Island. They are second from the bottom of all the Rhode Island radio stations' ratings. Second from the bottom. They literally have less people watching listening to their whole radio station programming than we have being watched by our fans on Facebook, YouTube, and of course, WDJY. So we have more people watching us than that whole radio station's programming. And I sent them a message. They have yet to get back to me. So 790.
This isn't a shot at the radio station. This is a shot at saying, here's your opportunity to get the best sports podcast on the planet on your radio station.
Yeah.
And get you some more viewers. We are New England based. I'm
taking the shot, though.
You always do. Christmas card loss. All right. Let's talk some Major League Baseball. That is, if you haven't seen him in 503 days, Jake DeGrom. So he is returning. He was not missing. We almost put him on a milk carton. Wasn't missing. We actually found him. He's going to pitch tonight for the Texas Rangers. Should the team be hopeful, Ron, about the future now that Jake DeGrom is back?
No, because how long is it going to last?
This poor guy.
He'll probably stub his toe on the bottom step of the dugout as he comes out.
You know what, Ron? I'm going to check something. Go ahead. But I just want to know. He's been in the league.
I don't know. I mean, he's such a dominating pitcher if he can make it to the mound. You got to put him in bubble wrap.
Ron, 2014 was his rookie year.
Yeah.
Okay? 2014.
Has he ever played a full season?
He's 84 and 57. You do the math. There's 30 roughly starts by a pitcher, 30-something starts. He's 84 and 57.
Wow.
So, listen, he is dominant. He is by far dominant if he could have stayed healthy. But 1,300, and I know you love this stat, 1,356.1 innings pitched. He's got 1,652 strikeouts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right? It's insane. 2.53 ERA. You're like, wow, this guy's amazing. He can't stay healthy. He's had 2 Tommy John surgeries. 2. I just don't understand some of these guys. Like sometimes, like they make a big deal. These guys are coming back. And then it's like, wait a minute, though. Do we really expect them not? We did an NFL preview show. You talked about it before we got on the air, Ron. We expected this situation with Tua. Now, like, you don't think DeGrom's going to be out again?
84 and 59, right? Oh, he's got to definitely be out. So he's got 143 decisions.
Yeah, you want
in 10 years? So basically, he gets 14 decisions a season. So basically, he's playing really like half the season.
He's been in 215 games in his career.
In 10 years. So he's getting in 21 games a year.
Yeah, wow. You're not considering the years he missed.
21 games a year he plays. So you figure he's going 14 and 7. And could you imagine if he actually played the whole season?
It's insane. What's he, 36? 36 years old. I mean, how much longer of a career does he even have?
Maybe one more.
The good thing is he's got tons of rest. From that standpoint, I mean, he may be able to go another 4 or 5 years if he stayed healthy.
I mean, his arms are going to fall off.
Key is, can any pitcher come back from 3 Tommy John surgeries? We may find out.
Yeah, it may be. I mean, he could do that. He might have to have a Tommy John surgery after the first game back.
Though. It's such a shame because we got cheated.
Yeah.
He was so dominant.
He was great.
Right? That is just insane numbers. 4-time
that's
All-Star.
A great pitcher that just never became great.
2-time Cy Young Award winner, 4-time All-Star, won an ERA title, and he was Rookie of the Year. Like, his career was, like, ready to blow.
Well, he would have won more ERA titles if he played.
Yeah, it's such a shame.
He didn't play enough games most of the time.
Sad. So, we'll see how he performs. We'll be watching later on. Check the highlights. All right, Ron. It is time for split decisions.
It's time.
Our split decision segment, basically we ask each other 2 more likely questions and we have to make a decision. We got to, that bell rings. We make a decision on what we think the winner would be. You are first tonight, Ron. So if you want to start off your first split decision.
All right. Well, I will start out with this one because, I gave you a lot of choices though. So I apologize for that. But
if you could have anybody in your starting 5 who hasn't won a championship out of these 15, which guy would it be?
It's funny. I've had 50 guys on my list.
We should do a top 50. That would be a good one. Ooh, we haven't done one of those in a while.
Oh, like we did the NHL thing?
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, I'd be all up for
Top
that.
50 guys that have not won. Okay.
All right. So, what quarterback is more likely for the Miami Dolphins to trade for?
Okay. They were talking about this on the radio earlier, so I did hear this. Go ahead.
All right. So, the choices I'm giving are Joe Flacco,
Mm-hmm.
Andy Dalton.
So you're asking who they're more likely to trade for, not who would
Right.
get wins. Okay. Okay.
Who would they trade for?
Gotcha.
Mac Jones,
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, because you never know, or Mitch Trubisky. Which one is more likely for Miami to trade for?
All right. So I'm taking out the two from Pittsburgh. Absolutely not going to happen,
Okay.
especially with Russ being hurt. So
Okay.
I don't think that's even a possibility. Who's Trubisky with right now?
Buffalo again.
So in a division, I don't know. I don't see them doing that. All right. So then we got Andy Dalton. Is he? I didn't even know he's still playing. Who's he with? Dallas? No.
Carolina.
Carolina. No, who's a
Mac
train wreck?
Jones.
I can't see them Dalton because they may need to put him in because I don't think Bryce Young's gonna make it through the season.
So we have Mac Jones and Joe Flacco.
If I'm Miami, I'm going Mac Jones. And the reason why I'm going Mac Jones is we saw him at least perform well as a rookie. So we know he has some talent. He can win. And then you put with that talent in Miami might help him. And then B, if two is out longer, now you're trying to build a guy for the next couple years versus Joe Flacco, who's probably in the league another year. So it makes more sense for Miami to say, hey, look, if I get Mac Jones, we might have Mac Jones for the next 5 years if we can be successful with Mac Jones. So I'd go Mac Jones.
Interesting. I like how you broke that down.
But that was
I thought I gave you so many choices you wouldn't know what to do.
No, I like that. That was very good. Very good one. All right. So here's my shot at the Patriots, Ron, because I always have to. Which is more likely to happen first? Jacoby Brissett throws for 1,000 yards in the season, so at least he gets to 1,000 yards, currently at 121 yards. Or the Patriots win 4 games.
Which happens first?
Which is more likely to happen first? 1,000 yards passing by Jacoby Brissett, or the Patriots win 4 games. Mind you, Jacoby Brissett is at 121 yards passing right now. So at this rate, it'd have to be week 10 by the time he gets to 1,000.
I'm going to say, and it's going to sound very bizarre, the New England Patriots win 10 games. I mean, 4 games, rather.
10? What?
4 games.
What is in that cup, Ron? 10 games. Wow. All right. Let's go, Pats.
And the reason
Mayo.
First of all, I don't think Jacoby Brissett is going to play 10 games. So he won't make it to 1,000 yards.
Like this team won. They won and we're crapping on them. I don't get it. What is wrong with us?
Well, think about it. If he gets 121 every week, he's not going to make it to 1,000 yards. Because either A, he's going to get hurt, or B, he's going to get replaced in week 7.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I like the theory.
So therefore, I mean, I felt like they would win 4 games this year, but now they might win 5 because they beat Cincinnati. So I'm going that route.
All right. I like it. All right. Your number 2 split decision.
My number 2 split
and Ron
decision.
Is drinking that juice.
There we go. Cheers, Kenny. All right. Who is more likely to win a wild card series? New York Mets, San Diego Padres, or the Arizona Diamondbacks? Who's more likely to win their first series?
So the Diamondbacks were in the World Series last year.
Yeah.
So from an experience standpoint, you think they make the most sense, but the Mets are playing really good baseball. Who's the third team?
San Diego Padres.
Yeah, Padres choke every year, so I'm taking them right out of the equation. I'm gonna go Arizona just because of the experience last year. I think they know how to win in a 5-game series. They've proven they can do it. So I'd like the Diamondbacks in that. And then the number one seed, right? So they're the number one seed in the National League, so they would get home field.
No, Dodgers are number one.
No, for the wild card, I'm saying though, wouldn't they? They're the number one wild card.
Yeah, because I think they would play. Would they play the San Diego Padres?
I don't know how it works. I think they do. I think that's how the first two go, and then you play the 6, 8.
Yeah, because there's 6 teams that are in, so 4 teams play. So the best of the 3 division winners out of the bottom number 3 team would have to play the worst team, which would be right now would be those New York Mets. So I guess it would be Milwaukee and the Mets.
Ooh, that might change my thought. No, but I'll still go Arizona, just because of the
then it would be Arizona and San Diego.
Who chokes every year, so I'm going Arizona. Problem solved. Thank you. You're a problem solver, Ron. You're a problem solver.
See, there you go.
All right,
Arizona.
So, my second split decision. Which player, Ron, is more likely to average over 30 points a game next season? So 3 players in the NBA averaged to 30 points or more last season. Those 3 players, Luka Doncic, averaged 33.9. Giannis Antetokounmpo averaged 30.4. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander averaged 30.1. Only 3 players to average over 30 points. Who is more likely to do it again next season?
Luka.
You think so? With Kyrie, and now you add one of the Splash Brothers, take some shots away from him.
I'm not so sure.
Okay.
I'm not so sure.
Okay.
I don't think it'll take shots away.
Wow,
I think he'll still do it. Yeah. I just think Luka's going to get his. I think who will suffer is Kyrie in that. I think Kyrie will suffer more.
Okay.
Because now he's going to have to dish it over to him as well.
Okay. I like your theory. All right. That was our split decision. Not bad, Ron. Not bad at all.
They were good ones. They were good ones.
They were very good. All right. So let's talk some NHL. Look how excited I get. I love this. So, Ron, Sidney Crosby going into his last year of his contract.
Yeah.
How much would you pay for Sidney Crosby if you were the Penguins?
See, here's the thing. There are about, 9 players that I would not pay him more than. But the problem with that is where the salaries are this year. And looking at, I put out the top 8 players I noted, right? So number 1 is Austin Matthews, 13.2. They don't pay him more than him.
Yeah, so the top
Nate
5.
McKinnon.
Right?
Yeah, Nate McKinnon.
12.6,
McKinnon is 12.6. I don't pay him more than that.
No. McDavid, 12.5.
McDavid, don't pay him more than that. And I don't pay him more than Panarin.
Panarin, right? 11.6.
Which also Elias Peterson is also making 11.6. So he has to be below that. That's where I put him. So I would pay him 11.5.
Yeah, we're in the same boat then. I said 11 million. 3 years, 33 million.
Yeah, I have that 11 to 11.5 million. He's making 8.7 now. He would be, in the top 8 salaries.
Mm-hmm.
He would be ahead of Pasta, even though I wouldn't want to pay him more than Pasta. But where he is there, I'd have to.
So
because he's earned it.
Yeah, but here's the question, Ron. So again, you're right. If you look at his number, 37 years old.
Right. How long I pay him, I top it out at 2 years.
Really? So you do a 2 year. I got a 3 year. I think 3 years, 33 million.
I mean,
that's
it
11
could be
million.
That. That's will he play that long? I don't know.
But think about what he's done for the franchise: 1,272 games,
right?
592 goals, 1,004 assists, right? 1,596 points. He's a plus 217 overall, 8-time All-Star, 3 cups. I mean, numerous awards.
You thought I was going to say, I don't pay him a penny.
Yeah, I thought you would question the age.
Yes, I do.
Because at 37, you're really, especially for hockey, in what he plays. Like a goaltender, sometimes you say that you see them guys going into their 40s.
Look, I compare a lot of people to Patrice Bergeron. And because that's like...
And I looked at that, and Patrice is at 11 million.
Yeah, and, and what he means to the Penguins, I see that. He's not, he's not Matthews, McKinnon, and McDavid, right? He's not them. And he's been with the Pittsburgh Penguins his whole career. So you take that into the fact that, hey, if you can help us out with, keeping it down to here, maybe we can get some guys in your last few years.
If he's smart, right?
If he's smart, he does it because
take $8 million a year.
I mean, I don't think he'll go 8, but I can see him taking 10. He gives you 10 million, then you can sign some guys. And try to do something.
I'm going to go off script here because you just said an interesting number that I want to mention real quick.
Yeah.
So we're kind of in the same boat with Sid. Jeremy Swayman and the Boston Bruins. So rumor has it, so Boston has about 8 million, 8.5, maybe 9.
8.6.
Okay. Right? To sign. That's what they have left.
Yeah, that's what they got.
And supposedly he wants 10.
He can't do it.
Does Swayman end up not playing with the Boston Bruins?
See, the number that is alarming, too, is he's only played 123 games.
You're not paying him $10 million. He's not that goaltender.
No, he might be that goaltender, but not yet.
That's what I'm saying, though. There's not enough proof in the pudding to say this is the guy to pay $10 million a year.
This is what they should do. $8 million this year. I have no problem giving him 8 for the season.
If he's not going to take it, though.
But this is what he should do. $8 million this year, next year, and then, $9 million the year after, and then 10, the next, 4 years or whatever, 3 years. So give him a 7-year deal. That, I think, is acceptable. And you're banking on him to be that guy, and he probably will be that guy. But he cannot get $10 million this year. They don't have the money for that. They don't have the money. And the moment he wants $10 million for this season coming up, he can't. Period. You can't get it because then somebody has to go. And that somebody isn't going to be a rookie or a second-year guy. It's going to be a guy that's been there a while. And most likely would be a defenseman. And then you're
Ron,
cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Ron, we got to do that. You ever watch Ace Ventura when let's watch that in an instant replay? Split decision time, Ron. What's more likely? The Boston Bruins sign Jeremy Swayman to a $10 million contract and cut a player, or the Boston Bruins do not sign Jeremy Swayman, or Jeremy Swayman takes $8 million and plays with the Boston Bruins next season?
I think it takes 8, and then it gradually goes up.
But why has it taken so long then?
Because
I think
he's looking at his value.
And then he's saying to them, get somebody better than me. Go ahead.
Yeah.
He's right now in control of it, believe it or not. As crazy as it sounds.
Look, if I'm the Bruins, I hold my ground to $8 million. I don't know what they're offering, so it might be even less.
And think about what we're saying: $10 million for Jeremy Swayman, 100 whatever games, 1,272 games, and a legend, right? I know you
right.
But he's a legend in hockey.
Yeah, he is.
Right, and we're talking 10 million's if he does 10 million, right?
Look, I never doubted Sidney
he is
Crosby's
not even
talent.
the same caliber as Swayman right now. And Swayman to ask for $10 million is absurd.
Yeah.
And I think he, to your point, he's playing hardball. I don't think the Bruins budge. I don't
And
think they
this
do.
is why I was upset when the Bruins traded Allmark before
Without
they
having a deal.
signed. Yes.
They blew this one. They blew this one. It's going to be a bad one.
As soon as he got traded, then Jeremy Swayman had them wrapped around his fingers.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Great discussion, though, but I had to bring that up because I thought that was an interesting topic as well. Great discussion. I'm glad we saw eye to eye on that one, by the way.
Yeah.
All right. It's time for pick and roll, Ron.
It's time for pick and roll.
Pick and roll. Where'd you pull that out? Look at that picture. Wow. All right. Hey, 1987, Ron. These goalies led the NHL in wins. Grant Fuhr, Mike Vernon, Ron Hextall, John Van Beesbrook, and Tom Barrasso.
Oh, man, you got the name right?
I remember him. That's why I remember it. Tom Van Beesbrook.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Let's rank them from 5 to 1, Ron. You are first. Your pick and roll. You pick them, then you got to roll with them.
Yeah, it's like you look at the names and they're like, all right, this is pretty good, right? Hey, you look at the numbers and it's like, these guys are just average.
Yeah, agreed.
They're
like
all
some
average.
of the greats we've actually had on these lists, and I'm like, these guys are not that good. I mean, they're not bad, but
they're average.
Yeah.
At number 5, I have Ron Hextall. 296 wins, 214 losses, 69 ties. Gotta love the ties. 23 shutouts, 2.98 goals against average. He was tied for the best on this list. That would not cut it in today's game. 895 save percentage, which would not cut it in today's game.
All of these guys were not very.
1 All-Star, 1 Vezina, 1 Conn Smythe, no cups. So he got a Conn Smythe without winning the cup. Number 4, I have John Van Beesbrook. 374 wins, 346 losses, 119 ties. He was a little better than a 500 goaltender. 298 goals against, 899 save percentage, which was the best out of all of these players, 899. You'd be a backup goaltender at best. 40 shutouts,
Most
2
on the
All-Stars,
list, by
1
the way.
Vezina.
40 shutouts was the most by all of these guys.
Yeah. Number 3, I have Mike Vernon. 385 wins, 274 losses, 92 ties. It really paid to be on the Red Wings and Calgary Flames back then. 27 shutouts, 3.00 goals against average, 889 save percentage. You might not even be in the league at this point. 2 Stanley Cups, though. 1 All-Star and 1 Jennings Trophy and 1 Conn Smythe. So he made it count, in the playoffs. Number 2, I have Tom Barrasso. Not Barrasso. Barrasso. 369 wins, 277 losses. Played for Mario and company a lot, so that helps. 86 ties, 38
Not
shutouts.
Nintendo, by the way. Not Nintendo.
Nope. 3.24 goals against average, 892 save percentage. He's really there because his win percentage is pretty good. Hall of Famer. So is Mike Vernon. 2 Stanley Cups. Thank you, Mario. And Yaromir. 1 Vezina, 1 Jennings, 1 Calder for Rookie of the Year. Just that Calder trophy got him ahead of Mike Vernon. Number 1, I have Grant Fuhr, and I think any goaltender would have won 4 cups for them. I think Andy Moog would have actually been the better goaltender for them. Andy Moog's much better. 403 wins, though, 295. It's not hard to get those 400 wins when you have Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier, Yari Curry, and a whole cast of characters. getting like 7 million goals a game, 25 shutouts, 3.38 goals against, the worst out of all of them, 889 save percentage. I believe that was tied for the worst of all of them. Hall of Famer, 4 Stanley Cups, though. Put him in first because he was the best of the average goaltenders. 2 All-Stars, 1 Vezina, 1 Jennings. Yeah. Imagine if Tim Thomas played for that team. He'd have like 10 Stanley Cups.
Ron?
Am I wrong?
Ron, you are right. And I will say this. That is exactly how I had it. Exactly the way you just said it. Ron Hextall at 5, no cups at all. And again, the least amount of wins out of all of these guys. John Vin Beesbrook, I had at 4. 40 shutouts, led which is still like, holy cow, all these games, 40 shutouts. None of these guys had good save percent. Nobody was over 90, which blew my mind. Mike Vernon
Nobody
at 3.
was at 90.
Nah, Mike Vernon, the 2 cups, put him at 3. Tom Barrasso, again, a little more hardware, was an all rookie as well. 2 Stanley Cups. I gave him the nod at 2. And then Grant Fuhr, the best of the worst. I get cream rises to the top a little bit. 403 wins, most on the list.
Yeah.
And then the 4 cups. So I put Grant Fuhr. But these guys all led the league in 87 in wins, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah. I mean, they were good goaltenders, but
so I checked Patrick Roy that year.
Do it.
I think Patrick Roy only had like 23 wins that season. And you think about how good he was. I think he was like 7th or 8th on the list. Like he was down there on the list. So pretty interesting.
He probably didn't play as much that year. He probably was out for like a couple of weeks at a time, and lost some time. And
So Ron, we're going to do our prediction segment next, and then we're going to announce the winner of our Hall of Fame winners.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start off with predictions. And last week, another stellar week for the kid here, the 6-2. James picking the winner in NASCAR last week. So phenomenal, James. Great job. Got 2 wins for that. So actually puts him back over 50% there. Kenny, as usual. That's more like a Kenny performance, 2-6. And you were 500, Ron, at 4-4. So if you are joining us live as we call the games, let us know who you would pick as your winner. We can add your name to our list. Kenny and James, hopefully you're still on and you're able to give us your picks as well. Ron, we're going to start off in Major League Baseball. We've got the Phillies at the Brewers, 3-game series. Both of these teams in first
Phillies
place.
At the Brewers?
Kenny, not funny. Kenny, I'm just saying that's. I mean, you're having a good year though. This is a good year.
I thought you put Atlanta.
No, it's Phillies at the Brewers.
Oh well, that changes nothing because I'm still picking the Phillies.
Oh, I can't with you. I went Phillies as well. Again, I think they're going to be one of the final teams in this thing for the World Series. I truly believe they'll at least make the NLCS. So that is my pick, the Phillies. Kenny got the Brewers. There we go. All right, Ken. James, are you still with us?
I don't know what the heck I did. I have Connecticut and Las Vegas in Major League Baseball.
Well, the A's are coming, bro. Give it a few years, though. It's like 3 years away.
So Connecticut will have a team as well?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we talked about it last week.
Move to Connecticut.
There we go. We need something. All right. I guess James is no longer with us. 9:15, Ron. You got the Sun at the Aces. I am picking Las Vegas again. I didn't miss this one last time. And I think the Aces are finally getting into playoff gear. So I think the Aces win this one at home.
Yeah, I'm picking Las Vegas as well. I learned from my mistakes, sort of.
Since when?
I made a lot of mistakes this year.
Okay.
Mistakes
right.
were definitely made.
No, okay. And now you're trying to make up for those mistakes. I like
Yeah,
it.
it's a little late for that.
Kenny going to Oppo all night tonight. Went with the sun. Also on September 15th, Ron, Minnesota Lynx at the New York Liberty.
I'm going New York Liberty on this. They're not losing at all.
Best team in the WNBA right now. I'm sticking with them as well. The Liberty, they look like they want the title. They realized last year they had that shot. I think this is the year. New York getting a title. So I went Liberty as well. Kenny, let me guess, going Lynx. Oh no, okay, wow. All right, Kenny. Some Major League Soccer action on the 14th tomorrow. Columbus at Cincinnati. So the Columbus Crew at FC Cincinnati. Even though Cincinnati's at home, going the Crew. We always go with the names. Teams that have nicknames. I went Crew.
Yeah, I'm going Cincinnati.
All right.
Probably tie, but
We haven't called many of those this year. No ties
No.
are allowed. No ties anymore.
No. You want to take a chance and go with tie. That's saying
That's
something.
pretty. That should be a 2-point win.
It should be.
It should. That raised the stakes a little bit.
Yeah,
Kenny,
maybe I should go tie.
Kenny's going Columbus. We're not making that next year. That's next year now. You can't do it now. You just trying. All right. NFL action, Ron. This Sunday, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions.
Detroit.
You don't want no ins. You just had this whole thing about Baker and how good of a quarterback he is.
Yes, but let's not overdo it. I mean,
Pump the brakes.
Yeah.
I think they got 3 starters out in that game as well. So I went Detroit.
See,
Tampa Bay has 3 starters out.
You were trying to prime me to try to sway me to take Tampa Bay.
Sway man. Trying to sway you, man. No,
Yeah.
too soon. All right. Also this Sunday, you got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Kansas City Chiefs.
This is a tough one because
it is. I think
they just got embarrassed by New England, right?
It's my pick. And I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. I do not think the Bengals have enough firepower. I think Higgins is still out. And then they didn't figure out how to get Chase involved, Jamar Chase in against New England.
Yeah, if you can't figure out how to get him involved in New England.
And I think Brower's wrist is really worse than it actually they're admitting. So I'm going Chiefs.
Yeah, I went Chiefs.
All right.
I can't hope for a win by them.
The chefs.
Lost to the Patriots.
That is still one of the best commercials.
That
is a great commercial. But who's the chefs? Oh, that is a great one. Good one, Kenny. All right. Tomorrow, number 24.
Andy Reid in that one.
Number 24, Boston College Eagles at number 6, Missouri Tigers. Ron, Boston College hot.
Yeah, I don't care. What is this? Doug Flutie coming back?
They beat. No. They're 2-0. 2-0.
Yeah.
And looked very good.
I don't care. Games. I don't care.
Wow. You know what I'm doing, Ron? I'm going with Missouri. I don't. This is gonna eventually. The Eagles got to come down. Got to land. I think this is the game.
An eagle will be landing.
Yes. Yeah. Of course, Kenny's.
Oh my God! Come on, Kenny.
Kenny sticks with the home. He's a homer through and through. I give him that. It could be the Pats versus the 1985 Bears, and he would still go with the Pats, even though he knows the outcome, because that's the kind of guy he is. Kenny,
even if the 1985 Bears were actually playing today's Patriots, they would still beat the Patriots.
They would. This Sunday, Ron, we've got Go Bowling at the Glen. Watkins Glen, top 5 driver is needed. Who do you have?
I'm going to go Denny Hamlin.
Ooh, Denny Hamlin. James came through last week, picked the winner. I'm so impressed. We haven't Super Bowl shuffle, baby. Yes, it was.
See, Denny Hamlin is probably the best NASCAR driver to never win one.
Oh, see, look, here we go. We could have done that.
54 wins, I believe. 343 top 10 finishes. I think he comes in and I think he wins this race, and it sets him up to win the championship for the first time.
All right. I mean, they do make. I mean, what's it? The scramble, Denny? No. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm an IHOP guy anyway. I went Kyle Larson. He's actually done really well in Watkins Glen. So Kenny's guy that he picked last week, Rob Smith or whatever it was, and I was trying to figure out what he was talking about. Didn't even race. So I don't know where that name came from, but I was a little confused. Kenny, I missed the list. Rewatch. We're on the last one. We're on the last one.
See, I don't have this problem with Kenny on going on daily. He's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know.
He doesn't come up with these crazy predictions.
It's a sports thing. All right, so tomorrow night we got a boxing match, Ron. Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga. All
right, so there's the problem right there, saying his last name.
Is it Berlanga or Barlanga? I think it's Berlanga. Berlanga. I'm really good with names, so.
Yeah. But like I said, champions aren't hard to say their names. You know, Patrick Waugh, Martin Brodeur, you know, Babe Ruth.
Derek Jeter. Yep, I got you.
Right? Easy to say.
Tom Brady. Yeah.
Like everybody can say Canelo, right?
Canelo Alvarez.
Or Alvarez. You can't say this guy's last name. Berlanger. Is it Berlanger?
I think it's
Berlanga. You know, so just because it's that hard to say, he's not winning. It's going to be Canelo.
All right.
So
I went Canelo as well. I went Canelo as well. I love how you got there. Ron.
That's why Van Beesbrook didn't win anything.
Yeah. Before we get into our final thoughts, Jose Ortiz. What is Kenny? What is he doing?
Where are you getting these drivers from? Jose Ortiz, is he even a NASCAR? Come on,
a baseball player.
His name isn't like that. That's baseball.
Holy
Jose
cow.
Ortiz there is no driver in NASCAR named Jose. Sorry. NASCAR comes from the South. I'll shut up. I was just going to say something. I'll be in hot water without Michaels.
Let's not. So let's announce, Ron, the winner, our next inductee into the Sports Unfolded Hall of Fame. And for the NFL. So
let's do the NFL.
That would be, out of all these men, Derek Thomas, Derek Brooks, Junior Seau, Kevin Green, Mike Singletary, Derek Brooks. Derek Brooks is the new member of the Sports Unfolded Hall of Fame with 60% of the votes.
He caught up and passed up Thomas?
Kevin Green and Mike Singletary both finished with 20. Derek Brooks and Junior Seau, 0%. Wow.
Derek Thomas had 0?
No, Derek Thomas had 60. He won it.
Derek Brooks had...
No, Derek Brooks had 0 and Junior Seau had 0.
Oh, you said Derek Brooks at first.
Derek Thomas is the new inductee.
That makes sense. That's why I said he caught up and passed Derek Thomas.
And the winner for the Sports Unfolded boxing between Joe Frazier, Roberto Duran, George Foreman, Ken Norton.
It's got to be Carlos
Monzon.
Sounds like
George Foreman with 70% of the votes.
Speaking of food,
Joe Frazier. Got George on my mind. Joe Frazier with 30%. Georgia. So George Foreman wins and is the new inductee into the Boxing Hall of Fame.
He joins Muhammad Ali.
Isn't that funny, right?
That is.
Foreman versus Ali. That's phenomenal. Next week, we will have new voting for the next round of our Sports Unfolded Hall of Fame voting. So tune in and check that out because we're going to have some new athletes that can be inducted into the Sports Unfolded Hall of Fame. So next week, you'll see those names on there for boxing. George Foreman, So excited about that. And in football, Derek Thomas. And we'll finally get
Is that
Lawrence
our
Taylor.
first defensive player?
And we'll
Oh
finally
no,
get
LT is already
Lawrence,
there.
yeah, and we're gonna finally get LT off of the football athletes that didn't win.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So with that, Ron, it is final thoughts time, but we're gonna talk about sponsorship first. How can you become a sponsor of Sports Unfolded?
Okay, so this is the great thing about this, right? Because we have the numbers for the radio as well. So what you should do is sponsor this show, because not only do we have 10,000 plus followers on Facebook, we have over 1,000 on YouTube, and we have 13,000 ears on our show on WDJY.
WDJY 99.1
I keep wanting to
FM
say WHJY, but
in Dallas, Georgia.
so WDJY in Dallas, Georgia, we have 13,000 plus, and they are calling the radio station about us, and I'm loving that.
No,
And
it's
I think
exciting.
that's remember when I said call the radio station?
Yeah.
To find out about us. So if you are listening to us in Dallas, Georgia area, call the radio station and say, hey, we want more of this. Is it possible to get more? So call them up.
See what you can do. See what you can do.
They answer the calls, by the way. They do answer.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
And so anyway, so you can get on, on our sponsors, ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. You want to become a sponsor. Obviously, 23,000 eyes and ears that you will be getting. So if you're an online business, you want to jump on this, because this is a deal. It costs less than going to your local coffee shop and getting an iced coffee and a double chocolate donut.
Double chocolate donut. Why not? If you're a psychic, wouldn't you want to be part of predictions?
Oh my God.
That would be a perfect one, right?
It would be.
So get on. We'll get you all the information. Just email us there at ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. Again, over 20,000 eyes and ears on your business on a monthly basis, if not weekly. We're continue to grow. Follow us on all our social media platforms as well: Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, MeWe. We're on all of those as well. So many different ways to like, share, and follow us. So continue to do that. Tell your friends about us. Join us every Friday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you don't like watching us, listen to us on all of our audio platforms as well. So many different ways to like, share, follow, and listen to us. So continue to do that. We do want to thank again those fans out in Dallas, Georgia. You guys have been amazing. What a great audience we have there. So we're so excited about that. And then again, you have the opportunity to vote for Hall of Famers, put them in. So many different things we do in Sports Unfolded. Our NFL rankings are now out every week. We'll be doing that. Our Major League Baseball, the Mickey Finn report. He tells you exactly how he got to where he got to. So many different things we're doing. NHL, NBA coming soon. We're only about a month away, believe it or not, and those are back as well. So a lot going on with Sports Unfolded. Check us out. We'd love to have our fans join us and tell us what you think. Give us some ideas on some shows too. If you have some things you want us to talk about, or join us live on the chat and let us know. We're more than willing to do that. Ron, it is final thoughts time.
It is.
You are first. So please, your final thought.
All right. So my final thought today goes out to Georgia. Good old football team right down there in the college ranks. Kirby Smart is doing such a wonderful job mentoring his players, right? Wonderful job. So good that sophomore defensive back Daniel Harris was arrested Thursday night for reckless driving and 4 other misdemeanors. And, It's just a common thing. So
Enjoy that.
apparently he needs to take cars away from these players, because so far this year, that is the 8th offense where players have been, similar incidents, whether it's for street racing, reckless driving, the whole bit, right? Seven others besides this latest one. That's this year. Last year, 16 others for basically the same stuff, right? So, Kirby, you're doing such a great job mentoring these guys. Please continue doing what you're doing. And before you know it, college is the NCAA is going to come down on you. It's eventually going to happen.
Way too much in Georgia. Absolutely agree.
Yeah. He's Absolutely not, these kids, and it was said, oh, it's not sure if he's going to make the trip. He's making the trip. He doesn't care. He doesn't care what happens to these kids. He just wants to win a game. It has nothing to do with their personal, things going on, whether they're doing something stupid. But eventually, one of these kids down there are going to get killed.
Yeah. It's a crazy story.
I wouldn't want Kirby Smart running my team. Sorry. Wouldn't want it. I want my kids alive.
All right. So thank you for that, Ron. We lost a legend. My final thought, we lost a legend. James Earl Jones passed away at the age of 93. And you think about all the remarkable things that he meant. Lion King, right? We listened to that voice. We talked about some of our favorite movies of all time. Field of Dreams, right? Sports movies. So you think about what he meant to that movie. But obviously the one that always will be, tied to him is, that's it. I Am Your Father, right? Like the voice of Darth Vader and what he meant to that whole entire, you think about the following Star Wars has, right? Star Wars has that following, that cult following. And this was a big loss for the industry. Such a remarkable career.
Not only that, Eric, Arby's. We got the meats.
That's not him.
It is him.
Is it? I did not know that. Really? That was him. I did not know that. Wow. Oh, that's crazy. I mean, they've got that thing looped. Sandlot. Yeah, there's so many great movies, right? By James Earl Jones in just a sad loss. Rest in peace. 93 years old. So just a sad loss. Ron, that has been our show for tonight. What a great show. We had some fun tonight.
We only have 3 more months till we have to do that year end.
we're not even going to talk about it right now. But I will say this, Ron. I enjoy each and every week doing the show with you. It's always a blast. I hope everyone out there has had fun tonight. Please join us live every Friday night, 6 p.m. on Rhode Island Broadcasting. We have the best sports podcast on the planet. Again, get your merch now available on Patreon at RI Broadcasting. So you can get Sports Unfolded merch as well. Donate stars and bits as well, or buy me a coffee. Yeah, a couple of different ways you could actually help contribute to the show. And we get to do it all over again next Friday, Ron. I'm looking forward to it. So all we ever do is ask for every single episode is that we get peace on earth.
Have a great night, everybody.